Hey everyone, this is Max Kane. I am here with Abby Rockefeller at Churchtown Dairy, and wow, we just got finished taking a farm tour, and what a beautiful work of art you've created. Thank you very much for your time today, and this is probably the most interview I've been excited for in a long time, so thank you for that.
Pleasure.
Yeah, I want to start off by bring up a story. I think it was the last time we saw each other, and then from that, like, transition back to where you first were introduced in your life with raw milk, and then kind of come all the way back to present day. So I think the last time I remember we saw each other, it was at a private event in Wisconsin, and we were. I remember I was on we were in the room and eating was taking place, and I remember watching you. You were eating this chicken drumstick, and you're just like really going to work on it. And I saw you like biting through the bone, and I thought, wow, this woman's got some strong teeth, you know. And I remember we were talking about it, and I remember you said something to the effect, "Yeah, that's because I drink raw milk. My teeth are in good shape," and that was like very impactful for me because my teeth were a little bit jealous.
Your teeth look pretty good.
Yeah, my teeth are doing all right.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
And so when was like, did you grow up on raw milk, or tell me about?
I did.
You did grow up on raw
Wasn't
milk.
that at Mark Castell's? Wasn't that?
Yes, it was. It was
that's
at
what-
Mark's
at
place.
his place. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I did grow up with raw milk. The story is my Rockefeller grandfather.
Okay.
He was not the money maker. He was the son of that one.
Okay.
And he built a barn. He built a dairy barn. It was either a copy of, or he brought it to this country, of a French stone dairy.
Uh-huh.
And I think he had 32 cows, 32 milkers. I think there were 32 stanchions. And he supplied all his children, grandchildren, and people who worked for him with raw milk all those years. And there was no discussion of it. But my mother believed in raw milk. So after that dairy disappeared, because he died, and just everybody's letting dairy go, real dairy.
Sure.
But my mother always had at least one milking cow wherever she lived. And she lived in a few places because she was married to my father. So she had a house outside New York City, in Tarrytown, New York, and one in Maine. And she had two dairy cows. They were there, so she could have real milk and real cream every day.
So her milk was important to her.
It was very
to the
important.
point where at each one of her
Places wherever she had.
dairy
She
there.
did. And then when she started to buy up land in the Hudson Valley, in this area, in Columbia County, she had a dairy cow here too. But she didn't talk about it. But as soon as she died, all those cows went away.
Oh.
Yep, that was, that upset me, and I didn't have a situation, actually, that's not right. I have a little farm in New Hampshire, and I had neighbors who live 10, 15 minutes away, and they had a little between 3 and 5 cow Guernseys. Mm-hmm. I love Guernsey milk. And I've been getting my milk from them for 45 years. I think there was a small hiatus of a couple of years when I tried out the mainstream trash. And I was drinking homogenized, pasteurized milk. It's just maybe 2 years.
Uh-huh.
And trying out K-roll, what's it called?
K-fo.
The sweetener that was made from high fructose corn syrup. K-roll, wasn't that it? K-A-R-O?
I don't remember.
Right? Oh, well,
you mean
was
one of the
everywhere.
artificial sweeteners?
One of these artificial sweeteners.
Oh,
Not artificial. It was a corn. It was this corn syrup, but it's the high fructose corn syrup,
yeah,
which got introduced to this country. Anyway, most of my life I have been drinking, and I won't drink. I will not drink. Homogenized is the worst.
Yeah.
Pasteurized is trouble. You can maybe get away with it low temperature or fast or something like that, it's not the worst. Homogenizing is the disaster that people haven't faced in milk.
You know, I remember reading a report where actually the airline industry gave a report to their pilots about, I'll get it to you. This is interesting. The airline industry, this was back in the 70s, gave a report to their pilots advocating not to drink homogenized milk because it was scientifically somehow proven, or at least that's what they believed, that it was creating heart disease.
That's what I
And
think.
they wanted to keep their pilots in really good shape.
Safe.
Because,
Wow. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I'll get that to you. I have it.
That is totally what I believe. That heart disease in this country started with homogenizing milk.
Yeah.
Pasteurizing has a longer history and it has different meaning. But homogenizing is what's destroyed the fat, which led to fat getting a bad name.
Yeah.
So butter fat, meat fat, fat on the top, the cream on the top of the bottle, all of that got a bad name. And what did they do? They took it down and put margarine in its place.
Yeah.
And Crisco and all these things, or no fat, low fat, no fat diet, low fat milk. Oh my God, what horrible things.
I think a
followed
lot
that.
of these, if you look at some of the margarines and Criscos
Yes.
and things, I think they're really closer to plastic. I think
they are.
they're like
they're petrochemical derived. They are closer to plastic. They're not food.
And so you grew up on raw milk ever since the beginning.
Yes.
It was your grandfather who kind of really got that going.
Well, he just on his own. I don't know what he knew. I don't know what he believed in because
Sure.
he didn't talk about it. There was no point made of it.
Okay.
But it was a big deal for me and for my family.
So for your family, dairy was a big part of your diet.
Yeah.
And it was raw dairy.
Right.
And so it was like family members and workers, and I'm just assuming back then people were hand milking, probably, or do you remember?
I don't remember. It could have been.
Yeah.
It could have been because there could have been enough labor to do that easily.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been a big deal.
So you grew up drinking raw milk, and then at what point in your life did you try? You said you tried some of the store-bought stuff.
I think I was in my mid to late 20s, and I had friends who were eating junk food.
Okay.
And I gave it just, well, I'll try.
Sure.
You know, Burger King, McDonald's. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And you can get addicted to that stuff.
Sure.
There's an addiction factor, but it doesn't leave you with a good taste. The food doesn't, so it would be something I would not feel good about later, but I could feel I wanted it again after I'd done it enough. It didn't take much to get me to be a little addicted.
Sure.
And I think it's the high fructose corn syrup. I think that may be the factor, but I'm not positive.
Oh.
What it really is that's doing the addiction.
But you
because it's in everything.
Sure.
The high fructose corn syrup was and is probably still in the meat. You know, it was in the hamburgers and Burger Kings.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Sweeten everything.
So you actually felt when you were eating that kind of food, you felt like you were addicted to it.
I did.
Yeah. Besides raw milk, you ate pretty much wholesome growing up?
Yes.
And how did your body kind of respond? I mean, like when you started on this.
On this other stuff?
Yeah, on this other stuff. Were you so resilient in your 20s that it didn't affect you much, or did you notice anything?
All I know is that I would be aware that I didn't have a good feeling in my gut, in my stomach after eating that stuff. So there was a cost instead of it just feeling nice after a meal. That's what I remember. I don't know what it did. I think I'm repressing what it could have possibly done.
Sure.
You know, because then I had a kid too.
Okay.
And I was sort of in the middle of some of that. Maybe I'd gotten over it a bit, I hope.
Now where I live in Wisconsin, it's illegal for farmers to sell raw milk.
Yeah.
And it seems like they have the way it's structured. They have these creameries, and that the creameries kind of dictate the price of the milk to the farmers. And it seems like there's like this monopoly price control system going that barely keeps farmers alive.
That's right.
And in some cases, they just lose money and they can't even.
It doesn't keep them alive. The farmers are disappearing by the hundreds all the time. They're still going under. So that is a key piece of this whole thing, and it's why I partly did this barn. I did this whole thing to get to talk about the importance of the scale. There's a scale to dairy farming that I came to feel was something like kind of 34 actual milkers is the top almost. Not much more than that.
Yeah.
To be able to do well and take care of the manure and take good care of the cows and good care of the land, and everything goes in on that place, it can go round and round. Once you start to get too big, you can't do that, and it becomes ugly. Nobody even wants to see it. So this is all about the money for those corporations.
Yeah.
That's all that it is. So the way for farmers to make ends meet is to sell their milk retail somehow. And that's what's true with lots of food. But dairy is really a big deal. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's an outrage. It has been an outrage. And I have known farmers, good farmers, who said, I'm out of here. Because they would come and try to they'd make them say, you have to put your milk into my tanker. Well, that's a bad deal. We shouldn't be putting milk in tankers. We shouldn't be mixing it. I don't think we should.
Yeah.
I don't believe in it. It should come from a farm, and you know the farm.
Yeah, kind of like a single source as opposed to milk from
of course.
how many...
That was a major bad move. The actual day, it would be nice to, that's a story that should be known.
Yeah.
When exactly did they start to put milk in tankers and not have to care? And because that doomed it have to be pasteurized, because you don't know whose is in there.
You're mixing milk from all these different farms.
No, you're mixing milk from everywhere. So that makes pasteurizing legitimate.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be not safe.
Yeah.
You're going to be bound to get some milk that maybe has not been treated very well and the cows are sick or whatever. You want to know where it's coming from. And people are being taught to not want to know where things come from.
Yeah, don't even question it.
But they're coming to want to know where their things are coming from. Again, there's a bit of a return of wanting to know. And so if the farm is little, it's a place to come see and to know who your farmer is and to know what the milk is.
So as we're walking around,
Yeah.
and you're showing me this amazing work of art, you're talking about dairy farms just don't work out when they get so big.
It's bad for everybody.
What's kind of that limit? How many cows do you think the limit would be?
I'm saying the limit is is small building. I said the idea going around New England and New York as I did, and then Wisconsin, the farms that looked like they were happy for the people, the cows, the land, were 34 milkers.
30?
You double that.
Yeah.
And that's sort of, I mean, maybe a little more, but I mean, then what they do is they can't manage the manure. It's too much manure. So they don't spread it with a manure spreader. So then they get a subsidy to dig a big hole and put the manure in a lagoon and treat it all anaerobically, and then it stinks to high heaven, and then it gets a bad name.
Yeah.
No manure has a bad name that's in a manure pile and it's waiting to go out in the field. It just doesn't have a bad smell.
I identify with that because when I'm driving by a farm that's farming at small scale, I actually find I like the smell of the manure.
Of course, exactly.
And
it's a different smell.
When I kind of inhale, and
it's good.
I can take a deep breath,
That's
and it's
right.
almost like a probiotic boost for my lungs and my whole body.
I think that's completely fine, right?
If I'm driving out in the country and there's a larger farm with one of those manure lagoons or the CAFOs, the manure smells so disgusting. It's almost like it creates this nauseous feeling. I want to get away from it, as opposed to, like something that's even desirable to breathe.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
It's a deep difference, and that people who have been taken away from farms and living in the city all the time, there's a big divide in this world now of people who can't get away from the city anymore. It's terrible. It's not good for people. We have to change that one too. So as we're going along, where in your life got inspired to say, hey, I want to build this dairy, and so you're Peggy. Who is Peggy? You said Peggy. My mother.
Peggy's your mom, and she's the one who acquired this.
I have a sister, Peggy, too, but my mother, she loved farming. She had been farming on this, gentleman's farm in Tarrytown, New York.
Okay.
And we had horses, sheep, pigs, chickens, and she had her dairy cow. She insisted on that, one. And beef, on and off, beef. But so that place, the manure was always cycling, and I saw that, and it was a little farm. So it was going from everything onto the fields. And so that got to me. So that's the kind of farming she liked. And she wanted to save, her idea was to save farmland. So she started the American Farmland Trust, which is a big sort of mainstream entity that's trying to, I don't know, buy up farmland and try to save farmland from getting all developed. Well, you know, that has to be a national policy, but she wanted to do that. So she started that organization, but then she got into raising cows for show and for beef. And the big Simmentals, huge, enormous, they're enormous kind of cattle.
Okay.
Yeah. And she bought up about 2,700 acres in the Hudson Valley, right here.
Okay.
Livingston and Claverack. This farm is in Claverack. Across the road is Livingston. And what she said, this is what I'd hear her say, she wanted to prove that you could farm profitably in the Northeast.
Okay.
Well, you can't because of the way they priced it all.
Yeah.
You know, the whole thing is they're trying to drive it to scale. So she was going to try to buy up enough so that it could be like the Midwest and you could get, but she went into the commodity market. And here's an area that had been getting all its own grain, all its own milk, all its own everything internally in this this county and in the
it was all local.
It was in the Columbia County, and then it was in the Hudson Valley, but it was local. By the time she was here, you couldn't buy any grain, no grain for animals. People had animals. They still had their pig and their horse and their whatever, lots of people, but they could not get local grain, local organic grain.
Yeah.
But you couldn't get local any grain.
Yeah.
You could get in the Blue Seals and the whatevers, the mainstream thing, you know, corn and the bad, terrible stuff that I think has destroyed the health of horses and other animals, you know, because they started putting soy in it. Oh.
So most of the horses around us, a lot of them just eat oats.
Well, oats is the good way. That's the old way.
Mm-hmm.
If that is a completely the safe, as long as I guess they're organic, but whatever. That's good. But horses started to get fed sweet feed. I know all about that. It was so pleasing. They loved it. They eat, you know, they're mad for it.
It's interesting you mentioned that because I was interviewing a dairy farmer down in Texas, and he switched over. I think he's milking 10 or 15 cows now. He had some of the best cream. He separated the cream off through a cream separator. It was some of the best cream I ever had in my life.
Was it Guernseys?
I don't remember the breed.
Yeah, right.
It might have been. I should call him and ask him.
Guernseys are amazing.
But I was interviewing him, Abby, and he said, now he used to be a big CAFO dairy farmer.
Oh.
And then he saw he had this wake-up experience.
Really?
He saw how he was treating the land and the animals, and so he changed.
Yes. Wow.
But he was telling me the story of when he was a CAFO dairy farmer, and so there was so I was asking him. I said, "Well, what do you feed the cows when you were big?"
Right.
He said, "Feather meal, chicken manure, and jelly beans." Jelly beans. I said, "Are you serious? Jelly beans?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "How could you? Where do you get jelly beans from?" And he mentioned, I think it was something to do with there was a couple semi-loads of jelly beans that I don't know I don't remember exactly, either they didn't pass for human inspection or he got some kind of a good deal on them or something, and he just put it right into the feed.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and
dear.
And he talked about I thought at the time he said I thought it was a good source of sugar, it helped produce more milk, and so with regards to all the sweet the animals,
the corruption of the feed system. There became a total corruption of the feed system. Putting sugar, the animals don't need that. They don't need that. They shouldn't have it. So horses are getting all sorts of, they're getting Cushing's. It's like diabetes. I think it's the diabetes of horses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so the scale is so important. And the question is, what are we going to really do? Are we going to take that one on? That's a very, very big fight, but they need enough support from I'm going to call them the customers, not the consumers.
Yeah.
I want to make the point that consumer is a very bad word.
Yeah.
Consumer, to consume means to destroy utterly. That's the first definition in the dictionary. And so the corporate world of food processors or whatever, they want us to destroy not just food, everything. We're consumers of everything.
Yeah.
They want us to destroy utterly everything so they can make it again. So we're eaters, we're customers. We shouldn't use that word unless you
Yeah.
mean to insult somebody.
I was talking with Joel Salatin about this topic, and he said I like to call them food eaters or my patrons.
Good
but
for
he's-
him.
Yeah, but he said he doesn't
Good for
like
him.
the
No,
word
he and
eater.
I are on the same page with that, totally. That's a very serious point. What you get called is, do you know what you are? Is that what you want to be?
Yeah, it
You
has
want-
meaning, right?
It has meaning. It was put in there when the system, the old system of merchant and customer were sort of same level.
Yeah.
When that changed, because the capitalist system took it over and made the merchant way more powerful than the customer, that corporate system is what changed the name of who we are to
Yeah.
what they wanted us to be for them.
Yeah, and it's
which is to destroy the stuff so they can make it and sell it again.
Yeah, so they can have that repeat sale.
Yes,
Like
yes.
destroy, repeat sale,
That's right,
destroy,
that's
repeat
right.
sale.
So we are consumers. That's what they want us to be. Well, I don't want to be that.
Yeah, and I think in a lot of
But
ways
we-
it perverted the relationship
It did.
between, you know, the food eater and the food creator.
That's
you know,
right.
It
Yes,
really,
yes, it certainly did.
yeah, and it kind of separated that relationship, and
Yeah.
then people became like really distanced and
yes, yes,
unattached
yes.
from their food.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
and then addicted to the garbage food, right?
Then that too. Those are all a piece of this very unwholesome system.
So at what point? So Peggy bought. She bought all this land. Your
And
mom.
my mother, she did,
So your
yep.
mom bought all this land, and then how did you say like? Did you say one day, Mom, I want to build this dairy,
No,
or how
I
did
did.
that come
No,
about?
that's later. After she died, she'd been dead for quite a long time, and my father wanted to know if any of us were interested in any of it, or should just go out into the market and be sold, whatever. And it struck me that I wanted to do something with this land that would get people's attention on the whole crisis of the agricultural system in this country. And so that's what he let me take this piece, which is farthest away from the rest of it. Sometimes you guys should go and see what's going on over there, because we have a whole hemp company project over that way. We're growing hemp, CBD oil,
Okay.
and all sorts of stuff.
So how long have you been working on
This has been about
the
10,
dairy here?
10, it feels like going on 10 years.
10 years?
Yep.
Is it ever going to come to an end, or how much?
Well, it'll hopefully come to a building end, but it won't come to an evolutionary end as far as what we want to make of it. But this is a great place for people to meet and talk. It really is super. Up there we can put bales of hay and have that be the seating up there.
Oh, I love the energy in here. Yeah, that's like the balcony seating.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah, this place is gorgeous.
We've done that, but this year we had none. But
So now the dairy is producing. You guys are you're selling milk,
we're
cheese,
selling milk, cheese, and then the meat.
and then meat.
Yep, right. That's right now what's going on, and there's more that can be done, and more events and classes and teaching, and just to do the real teaching. What I want is that the teaching should be real,
Yeah.
not pretend, not just make it up. It's got to be about the real issues that we're all really facing.
So right now, I mean, there's so much of. I like to hear you say that, because there's so much of a spread of misinformation out there.
Right. You can make it just trivial. It's a war.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one way to look at it. Then,
Like a war on information?
There's a war between the corporate world that wants to say the only way you can feed the world is through genetic engineering. First of all, I mean, they say that over and over again, and there's a whole bunch of people that believe that.
Yeah.
Just like the people who believe that this disease that is here,
COVID?
the COVID disease, they are willing to believe that that's a naturally created disease, and that, oh my gosh, we have to be afraid of diseases instead of wake up and think, what's going on?
Yeah.
This has got strange characteristics. Why don't you look a little deeper?
Yeah. That was something that on the way out here, we were kind of talking about that. It seems like nature, it doesn't even seem like it's obvious to me that nature always seems to be in some way the scapegoat for like the dysfunction of poor living and treating the earth in a non-sustainable way. So like it's either like it's the bird's fault, it's the bird flu, it's the pig's fault, it's the swine flu. It's like it's never like the lifestyle flu or the pollution flu or the do you notice that?
Sure.
Yeah. So that's right. Like that's something that really.
It's good. That's good. Well, there's a lot of profound waking up that needs to happen, and so I guess my feeling about this place is that it could happen in circumstances that make people feel good, at least while they're here.
Yeah.
I mean, because you can't just browbeat people. I mean, I have a side of me that wants to browbeat people because I'm really annoyed.
Yeah,
really frustrated, scared.
Yeah, fed up.
Fed up. Really scared of what we're doing.
Yeah.
What we're facing.
It's I get scared as well and sad sometimes, but I try and stay hopeful.
Yes, you've got to do that.
And I like to think like, what action can I take to like make things better?
Yes, good.
You
right.
know?
Well, you took good action with yourself, so you made yourself a lesson.
Yeah.
To yourself and others. You have a real thing to tell of fixing something that people don't. I mean, that must have been a very serious piece of discipline that you had to undertake.
Oh, it's discipline every day.
Yeah.
I mean, because
it's still discipline.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Right.
Because,
right.
I'm very committed to my diet, my lifestyle.
Right.
And sometimes I don't feel like drinking rags.
Yeah.
I really don't. But I do it anyway just because I know that I get a good health benefit from it, just for myself.
Yeah.
But it also, in some ways, I feel like health is kind of like my duty in a way. Mm-hmm. Like it's my way of contributing to the world. Because if I'm diseased and my body doesn't work, how can I serve anyone else?
Nice.
So that's just part of my philosophy.
I agree with that. That's very serious.
Yeah.
And that's the place to start. Because otherwise you're telling other people to do stuff that you haven't done.
Yeah.
That's not so influential.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no one wants to listen to a hypocrite or, or get taught by someone who doesn't have success in that area.
Even a partial hypocrite.
Yeah, partial hypocrite. Thank you so much for your time, Abby. Is there anything you want to cover that I didn't cover? I don't want to just wrap this up.
Yeah,
I want to give you the opportunity to.
Oh, I think I've said an awful lot of what I think. It's a deep time, and the biggest thing is for people to look into themselves and make themselves healthy, deeply, physically, mentally, spiritually, to do that work. And I guess instead of just complaining and browbeating others and thinking the government should do it all, or thinking whatever, somebody else is bad. I guess just focus on yourself and learn what good food is for us. You can't eat stuff that isn't really food and expect it to not influence you in a bad way.
Yeah. We were on the phone some years back, and we ended the phone call. You told me something. I'm hoping you remember. You said something about. I wanted to write it down, but I didn't remember it. And I thought, this is like an Abby quote right here. It was, people aren't other than nature.
Oh.
Well, yeah, see, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, we talk about man and nature, people and nature, as if those two are separate. That is a real big mistake. So I don't use the word nature.
Okay.
I use the word life. It's because it's us. It is all of us. The word nature tends to get us, oh, well, nature knows how to do it right, and people don't know how to do it. We are utterly a piece of nature.
Yeah.
We're a very strange piece of nature. And we are doing things that are incompatible with the way it's all working.
Yeah.
With the way it has worked, this wonderful, the increase of diversity is the way the life system has been going, and we, this strange creature in the middle, a part of it all, part of nature, is having this very insidious effect, at least from the point of view of some of us who are natural creatures.
Yeah.
It's just that it's dangerous to talk about nature and people, as if there's really that we are not that. No matter what we do, no matter how bad it is, from our point of view and from the point of view of the system, of the diversity of it all, we are part of it. And we will either bring it down, or we'll bring ourselves down, or we'll bring it and some of us down, or we'll wake up and play our natural part in a good way.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Abby, thank you so much for your time. This was awesome spending this time with you. What a beautiful dairy you have built. If you guys are offering farm tours during the week?
Oh yeah, all the time.
If you guys are in the Hudson, New York area, come check out Church Town Dairy.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Easy to
beautiful
find.
work of art. Thank you, Abby.
You're welcome.
All right.
Great to see you again.
Likewise.